Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. Today, we're talking about the leader's role in conflict. Are you ready? Let's get started. Last week's episode, you can click on it there, talked about whether conflict is a problem or not. We said it isn't always, but often it is. And so when it is, we need to talk about the leader's role in it, right? Now, are we talking about leaders as human beings? No, because all human beings can get into conflict. We're not talking about that specifically because leaders are humans, but we are talking about a specific kind of situation that if you're a leader, you've experienced. Here it is. You're sitting in your office, you get a phone call, whatever. Someone comes into your office and they say, one of your team members comes in and says, you need to talk to Joe because Joe's causing a problem. And this person goes on to describe all of the issues that are the conflict between Joe and this person. This person's goal is for you to go talk to Joel to solve the conflict. You've been there, right? Well, the question is, what do you do? Well, what too many leaders do is go try to solve the conflict. They go try to take some action to clear up the issue. Probably the wrong answer, at least until we know more information. So let's talk about what you might do or do better instead. First, start with questions, not actions. I want to ask this person, so have you talked to Joe? What's happened? Have you done anything at all in relationship to this? Because the leader's first role in conflict is to get people to solve it themselves. But the second question related is this really a workplace conflict? Is it causing a business problem? Are people angry? Are they blaming each other? Chances are that's true if they've come into your office to tell you about it, but you want to make sure this is really something that needs to be dealt with at all. Maybe that should be the first question you're thinking through, but those are the first two questions. Is this really a workplace conflict? And what have they already done? So the next thing you want to do is set an expectation that I want you to try to solve the conflict before you bring me into it, right? And if the person has come to you, then what you want to do is say, hey, what I want you to do next is to go talk to Joe. I want you to have a conversation with Joe. And maybe what you'll need to do is do some coaching. You might need to do some coaching with that person so that they're like, I don't know how to talk to Joe. That's why they came to you. Walk them through talking about what the concerns are, what the issues are, to stay out of blame and talk about what's really going on. Do some coaching, right? And then check in on progress. Has the person talked to Joe or not? How's it going? Are things better or not? If they haven't had the conversation, encourage them to do so. If they have, find out how it's going, right? Your goal here is to stay out longer. Stay out of the conflict resolution process. Why? Not because you might not be able to help, but there's no reason for you to sort of wield your positional power too early. And the reality is you really want people to build the skill of resolving it with each other without your intervention. Because at the end of the day, this is the important question. What are you teaching your team? Are you telling your team, if you've got a conflict, come to see me and I'll go fix it? Because if that's what you do, if that's your reaction to it, they're going to keep coming to you. It's far easier to bring you the problem and let you solve it than it is for them to work to solve it themselves. So are you teaching them to become self-sufficient, or are you teaching them to come to you for you to solve the problem? The leader's role in conflict is likely to wait a little bit longer. Let other people work on solving it. Help and support them. Coach them if needed, but let them resolve the conflict that they're in first. Let me close with today's tweet. Leaders too often step into conflict resolution too early. Start by encouraging and coaching others to resolve it first. When you move from being an individual contributor to a leader, dealing with conflict, the kinds of situations we've just talked about, is one of the many challenges that you will face. In fact, the transition from being a team member to being the leader is one of the hardest you'll make in your professional career. That's why we've created the free video series called Your First 45 Days. And so we hope that you'll take advantage of that short video series. It's free to help you in that transition from being an individual team member to being a leader. Hope you'll do that, and I hope you'll be back next week for another episode of Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast.